Last week on April 5th and April 6th, March Madness for both the women's and the men's tournaments concluded for 2026. March Madness is always an event people have circled on their calendar, and people love watching the high-stakes, intense games between these college kids in a single elimination bracket. So I thought, what if we brought this into the MLB? Obviously, baseball doesn't have a single elimination tournament besides the World Baseball Classic, but for the sake of this video, with March Madness being single elimination, I wanted to see how that would go in baseball. And we've seen this kind of idea done in MLB The Show before, but one of the biggest parts of March Madness every year is the brackets. Everyone, all ages, fills out a bracket of who they think will win each game and who they think will win the entire thing. There's bracket challenges where if you predict everything perfectly, you could win a lot of money, or you could just do it for fun. But either way, people love it. And so in this video, I put together a March Madness bracket. It's a one-sided bracket starting from the round of 32, and I'm going to give you my picks if each of these games was a one-game series. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. And getting it started, let's just go through all of the seeds really quick. So this is going to be based off of the end of 2025 and its standings, but we are going to be taking into account rosters from opening day of 2026. So that means the 1 seed goes to the Milwaukee Brewers, with the 2 seed going to the Philadelphia Phillies. The Toronto Blue Jays get the 3 seed, with the New York Yankees getting the 4. The Los Angeles Dodgers will get the 5 seed in this tournament. The number 6 seed is the Chicago Cubs, with the number 7 being the Seattle Mariners. The number 8 seed goes to the San Diego Padres, with the 9 seed being the Boston Red Sox. Moving into the number 10 seed, that is going to be the Cleveland Guardians, with number 11 being awarded to the Houston Astros, and number 12 going to the Detroit Tigers. First non-playoff team here, the 13 seed is my New York Mets. Moving on to the 14 seed, that is the Cincinnati Reds, who were below the Mets in the standings, even though the Reds did make the playoffs and the Mets didn't. Kansas City Royals get the 15 seed. For number 16 in this tournament, that goes to the San Francisco Giants. Now looking at the back half of this seeding, Texas Rangers get number 17. Number 18 goes to the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Miami Marlins get the 19 seed, with the St. Louis Cardinals at 20. 21 seed in this video is going to be awarded to the Tampa Bay Rays, with the 22 seed going to the Athletics. Braves get the 23 seed, with the 24 going to the Baltimore Orioles. The Angels get the 25th seed, with the Pirates at number 26. Minnesota Twins get 27, with the Nationals at 28. White Sox at 29, and Colorado Rockies at 30. But like I said, we're starting from the round of 32, which means the top 2 teams in AAA baseball will get the 31 and 32 seeds, and the 31 seed goes to the best team in AAA last year, the AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. And then the 32 seed will be the AAA affiliate of the New York Yankees, that is the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. So without further ado, let's get right into this bracket. First matchup here, we have the 1 seed Brewers against the 32 seed Rail Riders, and I don't think the Brewers will be as good this year as they were last year, but they are still better than a AAA team for the New York Yankees. Unfortunately, both AAA teams, I'll spoil that here, both AAA teams will be eliminated in the first round of this bracket, but I believe that's how it should be. No minor league team should be better than a major league team, really. So, Brewers take down the Rail Riders in a 1 vs. 32. Next matchup we have is the San Francisco Giants versus the Texas Rangers, and I originally was going to go with the Giants here, but I think I'm actually going to go with the Rangers instead. The Rangers have a better pitching staff with Jacob deGrom at the top, and the Giants have just looked really, really sloppy all of this year. So I am going to give them the edge here over the Giants in a 17 beating 16, Next up, we have the number 9 seed Boston Red Sox and the number 24 seed Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles are looking good to start this year with Pete Alonso at first base locked down for the next 5, and the Red Sox haven't looked good to start this year. However, I'm still going to take the Red Sox in a one-game playoff, specifically because Garrett Crochet would be on the mound, and whoever the Orioles decide to go with, Garrett Crochet is better. Garrett Crochet is the second best left-handed pitcher in the league, in my opinion, behind Tarek Skubal, so I have the Red Sox beating the Orioles in a 9-24. Next up, the 8-25, I have the Padres advancing over the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels haven't looked good for years, and I really hope that they could put something together before Mike Trout retires, because I really do want to see him win a championship. And even though the Padres, they might miss the playoffs this year for the first time in a little while, I do still think they would beat the Angels in a one-game playoff or even a longer series. I still would give them the edge there. 5 versus 28 is the Dodgers versus the Nationals, and if you don't pick the Dodgers here, you're delusional. Nothing really against the Nationals, even though I don't think they're a great team. It's just that this Dodgers team is a juggernaut, and I don't know who can really beat them in a one-game playoff or a long series. I don't know how things are going to turn out later this year, but there is a good chance that they three-peat as World Series champions. Next up, we have the 12 versus the 21, which is going to be the Detroit Tigers against the Tampa Bay Rays. And overall, the Tigers are a better team than the Rays, but even if you take offense out of the equation for a second, the Tigers are winning this game simply because they have Tarek Skubal on the mound, and whoever the Rays decided to throw, probably Shane McClanahan would be their ace right now. He's not as good as Tarek Skubal, not even close. Tigers take this one in a 12 versus 21. 13 versus 20 is the Mets versus the Cardinals, and I do have the Mets taking down the Cardinals. Mets have had a roller coaster season already, and we're only a couple weeks in. I do still believe in this team. I think they can probably still be a playoff team, even after just getting swept by the Athletics, but we'll see where that goes. But the Cardinals, even though they beat the Mets 2 out of 3 last week, the Mets still are and should be the better team here. The Cardinals don't have much depth. Jordan Walker is having a really nice year up to this point, but their lineup and pitching doesn't give me enough to justify putting them over the Mets in a one-game playoff. Yankees beat the White Sox in a 4 versus 29. I think that's pretty obvious. Munetaka Murakami looks exciting to start his major league career, but other than that, the White Sox don't really have much. Blue Jays, who just went to the World Series last year, will beat the Rockies in a one-game playoff as the 3 takes down the 30. And we haven't really had a lot of upsets here so far. The only one we really had was Rangers over Giants, but that was a 17 over a 16, which is like the smallest upset you can have. But we're getting there, don't worry. 14 seed Reds and the 19 seed Marlins. The Marlins actually look like they could be putting together something kind of special. Maybe not for this year, but for years in the future. I still feel like I have to take the Reds here, simply because they did make the playoffs last year. They added Eugenio Suarez as a bat in that lineup. And the Marlins, even though they are progressing, I don't think they're there yet. So I have the 14 seed Reds beating the 19 seed Marlins. And now we'll get into our first upset of the video. And this may shock some people, but I have the 22 seed Athletics beating the 11 seed Houston Astros. Now, I know when you're looking at pitching for a one-game playoff, it's probably Luis Severino against Hunter Brown. And so you're like, well, Hunter Brown is a better pitcher. And yes, he is. I'm not going to argue with that. However, Sevy looked good in the World Baseball Classic in the couple starts that he had, especially the one against Team USA. And he pitched for the Yankees for a long time, so we know he can pitch in high leverage situations. And this A's lineup could be really exciting this year with Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, Lawrence Butler, Max Muncy, Jeff McNeil, a new addition. So I do think that they could take down the Astros in a one-game playoff, but this could be one of the more interesting games. In a 6-27, I have the Chicago Cubs taking down the Minnesota Twins. The Cubs, I don't know how they're going to perform this year. I don't think that they could really win the NL Central. I think that's still the Brewers running that division, but they definitely are a playoff caliber team, especially compared to the Twins, who kind of have Byron Buxton and then nobody. In a 7-26, although the Pittsburgh Pirates did get better this offseason, I'm still going to take the Seattle Mariners. They are simply the better team, and they have pitching for days, which is unbelievable. And then this is also going to be a big upset. I'm going to take the 23 seed Braves over the 10 seed Guardians. The Guardians did absolutely nothing this offseason. I'm pretty sure they made 2 additions, and they were extremely minor to the point where I can't even remember what they were. They don't have much of a different team from last year, and the only reason they kind of got into the playoffs is that late season magic, whatever they did to squeeze their way in there. And the Braves had bad injury luck last year, and while the pitching still doesn't look good for them, and they still will have a lot of injury this year, in a one-game playoff, you have Chris Sale going as your ace, so I think they still do take down the Guardians, especially with that lineup, which is still deadly. 2 more matchups in the round of 32 to cover. First, we have the 15 seed Royals, who I'm going to take beating the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks might have 3 of the best offensive players in the league with Geraldo Perdomo, Corbin Carroll, and Ketel Marte, but past that, they don't really have much. They've had bad injury luck to start this year, and the Royals have Bobby Witt Jr., which helps a lot. But then you also have the World Baseball Classic MVP Maikel Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino, who had one of the greatest single-game performances in the World in Baseball Classic's history with 3 home runs in the last game of pool play for them. So I think they do take down the Diamondbacks. They won a playoff series a couple years ago. That's all I'm going to say. And then the last matchup here in the round of 32 is going to be the 2 seed Phillies defeating the 31 seed Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Like I said, for the Rail Riders and Brewers matchup, I don't see any minor league team beating a 1 or 2 seed in this tournament. Now we get down to the Sweet 16, and the first matchup is the 1 seed Brewers against the 17 seed Rangers. And the way I'm going to be viewing this now is that you can't throw your ace in back-to-back games. I'm going to try and talk about it as if each team is on a 3 guy rotation, because you don't really use more than 3 guys in the playoffs anyway. But so I am going to take the Brewers beating the Rangers. Rangers in this game, if they had DeGrom going the first one, this would probably be Nathan Eovaldi. And while Eovaldi does have playoff experience and is still a good pitcher, I still take the Brewers in this 1/17. A bit of a tiny upset here. I don't really know how much of an upset it actually is, but according to the seeding it is. I'm going to take the 9 seed Red Sox over the 8 seed Padres. This would be Ranger Suarez on the mound against the Padres. And the Padres don't look as good as they have in the past few years. They still have the big guys like Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado, but past that and Jackson Merrill, they don't really have a lot of depth other than their big 3 at the top. So I'm going to take the Red Sox here. 5-12, Dodgers versus Tigers. The Tigers are a good team, but they're not beating the Dodgers. Ever. In any sort of playoff series. It's been kind of a thing going around the internet now. This is not my words at all, but the Dodgers kind of don't care about the regular season because they know how good they are in the playoffs and they know they'll make the playoffs. And so with the Dodgers being that good in October, I think the same would apply here in March in this March Madness tournament. So I'm going to take them beating the Tigers. I am actually going to take the New York Mets over the New York Yankees. And that might sound biased, and maybe it is a little bit, but neither of these teams have looked good to start this year at all. But I think that the Mets do get the edge over the Yankees here, especially since I'm taking into account the fact that Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon are still hurt here. I would view this pitching matchup as Nolan McLean versus Cam Schlittler, which in itself is an awesome game. These are two guys that hopefully will both be mainstays in their team's rotations for a long time and can just be the guys in New York for a while. But I will take the Mets over the Yankees, even with Aaron Judge. I'm going to take them here. I promise their run doesn't last that much longer. I didn't pick them to win this tournament. I'm going to take the 3-seed Blue Jays over the 14-seed Cincinnati Reds. The Reds kind of just got into this next round because of who they were playing in the first round. If they were playing one of these bigger teams, they probably wouldn't have made it here. And the Blue Jays just made it to the World Series last year. They're still a very good team, and I have confidence that they would beat the Reds in this tournament. The Athletics, who I have upsetting the Astros in the first round, I'm going to have them lose to the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs are just the better team, unfortunately, as much as I like the Athletics. And then in our next matchup, Mariners versus Braves. The Mariners don't really suffer from the 3-man rotation rule in this tournament, just because they have such a deep starting rotation. They're 1 through 4 or 1 through 5, whatever it may be. All of those guys I would be confident throwing in a playoff game, which is something a lot of other playoff teams can't really say. So I'm going to take them here over the Braves in the 7/23. And then 15-seed Royals I'm going to have fall to the 2-seed Phillies. The Phillies haven't looked good this year so far yet, but they are still a good team. Elite 8 now. We are getting down to the end of this tournament, and in a 1 versus 9 matchup, I'm going to have the 9-seed Boston Red Sox defeat the 1-seed Milwaukee Brewers. I think the Red Sox are the better team here. The Brewers put together a phenomenal season last year, and even though the team didn't change that much, I don't think they'll be able to replicate that success this year, so I'm going to take the Red Sox over the Brewers in a 9/1. Dodgers over Mets. I told you the Mets will be eliminated soon. Here it is. They're going to fall to the Dodgers in a 5-13. And then 3-seed Blue Jays and 6-seed Cubs. I'm going to take the Blue Jays here. This would be the third starting pitcher for each team, by the way. Just figured I'd mention that. But the Blue Jays are the better team here. They have a deeper lineup, and they've performed in October. They were a couple centimeters away from winning the World Series if Isaiah Kiner-Falefa took his secondary lead. So I'm going to take them here over the Cubs. And then final matchup of this Elite 8 is going to be the 7-seed Mariners. I'm going to have them defeat the 2-seed Philadelphia Phillies. Like I said, the Mariners' rotation is so good. The Phillies haven't looked great this year. Their core is starting to age, and so I think that the Mariners do outlast them here, and the 7 upsets the 2 in the Elite 8. Final 4 time. We're almost done with this bracket. The 9-seed Red Sox playing the 5-seed Dodgers, a rematch from the 2018 World Series, and this time I will have the Dodgers emerge victorious. This is where rotations flip back to the start, and so the Red Sox would have Garrett Crochet on the mound for this game, and if it was any other team they were playing, that would probably pull them over the edge, but it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have all-stars up and down that entire lineup, and they would have Yoshinobu Yamamoto pitching this game, which just helps even more, so they are going to get the win here for me in my bracket, and then a 3 versus 7 Blue Jays versus Mariners, a rematch of the 2025 ALCS. And this time around, I'm going to have the Mariners defeat the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are still a very good team, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if you can count on Trey Savage to do what he did in the playoffs last year, and he's hurt right now, so he's not even really a part of this. And past that, I think the Mariners' pitching is just better. We don't know what Cal Raleigh will do this year after hitting 60 home runs last year, but I do think that the Mariners could outlast the Blue Jays in a 1-game playoff here, so I'm going to have them advancing to what would be the national championship in college. I don't know what we would call it here, but Dodgers versus Mariners, and I am going to have the Dodgers win this matchup. I think the Dodgers are just unbelievable. There's a very good chance to me that they three-peat this year, so I'm going to have to take them to win this MLB March Madness tournament. So that would be my bracket if Major League Baseball had a March Madness tournament. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel down below. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps me out a ton. Follow me on Instagram at AroundTheDiamond2. The link is in my channel bio. Check out Around the Diamond Designs to see all of my card designs. That link is also in the channel bio. And if you want to hear me talk more about my favorite team, the New York Mets, head on over to my second channel, Around the Mets. I'm going to try and start posting over there more consistently as the season goes on. But that's going to pretty much do it for me in this one. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.